For Mike.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Top Rank Incorporated and the King of Beers, Budweiser, presents the main event of the evening. This bout is approved by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazard Sr., Chairman Jerry Gormley, Board members Gary Shaw and Richard Harrison, Deputy Commissioners Lawrence Wallace and R. Yogi Hiltner, Chief Physician at ringside, Dr. Frank Vidog, and also in attendance, Dr. Stanley Eden and Dr. Charles Wilson. The timekeeper is Arthur Spell. Counting for the knockdown seconds is Paul Venti. This bout is sanctioned by the Intercontinental Boxing Council. President and supervisor at ringside, Marty Cohen. The three judges aside are John Potteray, William Kostrup, and John Riley. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Trump Taj Mahal here in Atlantic City, New Jersey, let's get ready to rumble. 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant IBC Junior World Middleweight title. The referee for this bout is Toney Orlando. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks with black trim. He weighs an even 160 pounds from Ann Arbor, Michigan. He's undefeated as a professional and ranked in the top 10. He's 23-0-1, 17 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, James Lights Out Toney. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with red and blue trim, weighing 158.5 pounds from the Dominican Republic. He's also undefeated. Also in the world class of top 10 middleweights, 18-0, 14 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, Merqui El Carumbo Sosa.
All right, gentlemen, I expect a clean fight. I expect to listen to all my commands. Do you have any questions? Touch gloves, good luck, go back to your corner.
So there's a look at Merqui Sosa with rooting section. And James Toney, who doesn't need one, he cheers for himself pretty good.
Yeah, not a shy person,
No.
James Toney. Made it clear to us today that he doesn't think too much of Merqui Sosa as a boxer. Feels doesn't offer that much. Well, we'll find out. In fact, he said he can't fight.
Yeah, basically, it's exactly what he said. He said he's fought 18 tomato cans. Actually, he said dead tomato cans, which I thought was an impossibility. So.
Kind of redundant. But one of those dead tomato cans is the same guy that James Toney fought, and that's Theodore Williams, who ain't a dead tomato can. And they both beat Williams, although Williams also had a draw with Toney. Toney came back to avenge that draw, if you will. This is going to be a good bout. It really is.
I think it is, too.
They are both undefeated. They're both hungry. They're both ranked in the top 10 of a couple world organizations. And they both want to win badly.
And they're both obviously in very good shape.
You can see the awkward style of Merqui Sosa, but right now he is getting nailed by Toney.
Toney really finding a home for the right hand. And with good reason, Sosa has his left hand down somewhere around his trunks.
I think he should take the nickname I kind of offered, Herky Jerky Merqui.
I like it. There's that right hand again. And look at where Sosa's left hand is defensively. I mean, he just does not pick that left hand up on the defense, and that's a major problem.
They are bombing away, and I think Sosa was hurt by one of those left hands. Well, his hands are at his waist.
I mean, and he's fighting a fast-handed fighter here.
It's almost as if they both came out and said, this is knockout city. We're going for it, period.
Well, Toney said that, basically. Toney said, I don't think it's going all the way. He said, I can go 12 rounds, but I'm not.
And they both have had a lot of knockouts. Boy, Merqui Sosa, I mean, he was getting nailed with almost everything Toney throws.
Yeah, with good reason.
We said it was a very odd style. Tall and gangly, and that's about it.
Swelling around the left eye of Merqui Sosa. There was Sosa with a short right hand. But I'll tell you, defense is not in Sosa's book right at the moment.
No. He is taking what Toney is dishing out, obviously giving away this first round in the process. And he's got a bump already around the left eye, does Sosa.
Also, Sosa, at least in his first round, looks slow-handed to me.
He's not the quickest punching fighter on earth.
Well, the end of the first round, and only landed 59% of his power shots in the first round, and it's mainly because Sosa just let it.
His hands were extremely low.
And still are.
Yeah, and didn't have the greatest head movement to get away from those punches.
A lot of swelling under the left eye, actually up on the cheek, and the numbers in the first round indicating exactly what we've been yammering about here.
Well, Sosa has one of the oddest boxing styles I've seen in a long, long time. See, now he's getting better leverage, though, Sosa.
Yeah, he is doing that.
Now he's starting to get a little more leverage.
Got there with the left hand.
But he is so open, it is outrageous how open he is.
Sosa, as you can see on his trunks, is Spartan on the back, and Sosa on the front, which would indicate that that's Sosa.
Yes.
And Toney with the unlisted back, and Toney on the front. Very clever, I
We
think.
take a backseat to no one when it comes to journalism.
I'll tell you.
On this show.
Absolutely.
We're great at reporting the obvious, aren't we?
So needless to say, it doesn't bother us when both men wear white trunks. We can still identify.
And pass it along to you. You know, Sosa has been a little more effective in this round, but sometimes it's hard to tell because his style is so awkward. Because he's still leaving himself wide open. Toney able to take advantage of it sometime.
Does seem to have some power in that left hand.
Sosa going to the body a little bit more. And a little bit more effective with it.
Well, when he gets in close like that, it's not as much of a problem for him to have his hand at his hip.
And I think James Toney has to be very careful not to be totally lured into this, Barry. Lured into such a crazy, wild bout. Toney is obviously the more skilled of these two boxers, but Sosa makes up for that to an extent with his strange style and the fact that he does hit with a little power. There's swelling around both eyes now of Merqui Sosa.
And there's a long, long way to go here.
Oh, keep those punches up there.
Toney continuing to do more. Sosa showing a little bit of power. Sosa's going to have to show some defense at some point. Well, joining us now between rounds is the man who was just so impressive, and I don't think we wax enthusiastically all that much, but Charles, just a tremendous performance tonight. I'm sure in your own evaluation, you couldn't find too much that was wrong. 4,000 punches.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Wait, this is the first time we've ever had to argue with a boxer to tell him he was better than he thought he was.
And actually, too, we thought that the guy you were fighting was a pretty tough guy, and he came prepared to fight.
Yeah, he fought me hard.
Yeah, he really did. And this is a fascinating bout in that, have you ever seen a style like Merqui Sosa's?
No, because his speed is so awkward. I knew it. I knew it was going to happen.
He did.
His feet are open and his hand is down, and that's a real problem. Charles, just a brilliant performance, we thought anyway. Our evaluation was that you were brilliant tonight. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, thank
Charles Murray.
Well, Merqui Sosa finding the going tough here, but he's back up there, Barry, and he is back in the fray. He's not acting like he was hurt. Toney throwing very good straight punches with lots of power and landing big, especially with the left hook.
I was just going to say, the fact of the matter is that we were talking about how brash Toney was and talking about Sosa, and so far I would have to say he's right.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't that many skills from Merqui Sosa. But of course, the way Merqui Sosa has obviously won is that he's kind of overwhelmed his opponents. Now, it's interesting, you know, I'm looking at Merqui Sosa. I got to tell you the truth. With this style, I would think it'd be hard for him to beat Sanderline Williams, but he did.
Takes some strange angles. Got hit again.
Tell you what else Merqui Sosa probably has, a good chin. Oh, man, he's getting nailed with those shots. I mean nailed. He just comes in head first. Toney spars with, among others, Lindell Holmes, the super middleweight champion, which is, Sosa says he'd like to even step up to super middleweight, maybe up to 168 pounds.
Toney said that Sosa has one style, and that's sideways, and that's exactly what he is.
Nice body shot by Toney. James Toney is actually fighting Sosa's fight because you can't avoid it. You can't, keeping him off with the jab is hard, and yet he is doing so very effectively.
Keep him up, Sosa. Keep him up.
It's pretty hard to discourage Merqui Sosa, obviously. He's getting hit with everything.
Well, a strange first 3 rounds, that's all I can say. And James Toney, if it continues like this, will have an easy time.
Call now.
I would have alluded to and was thinking about was how widespread, as you look at it, Sosa's legs were. He ended up being squared. Look at that. The balance is the big problem. Even more than him being hurt, he was way off balance. And I think it's safe to say that's not the first time in this bout Merqui Sosa has been off balance.
No.
Overhand right. Merqui Sosa looks at Toney and says, wow, that was good, and smacks himself in the head.
Which wasn't a bad punch either. It was certainly his best of the fight.
Does that count as a connect either? Logan Opson from Punch Profile looks over and says, yeah, of course it does. What do you think, you knucklehead? Why do I ask these ridiculous questions? I don't know.
Through the first 3 rounds, Toney is doing most things right.
It's actually not a huge difference, because Sosa has landed some, but with the knockdown and the overall sharpness of Toney, I assume he's pretty far ahead. I've got him winning all around.
He won by 2 points because he did it on knockdown. There's a little bit of blood. I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's up on the forehead of Sosa.
Sosa has had 2 months to train for this, as has Toney. They're well prepared. Sosa trains in the famous Gleason Gym in New York.
I'll tell you, if he keeps his left hand down like that in the gym, he must take some pretty good beatings in the gym, too.
Yeah, I would think so.
That just seems to me, Al, to be such a basic thing. I don't profess to be an expert, and if I could see that.
Yeah, you got to get your hands up at a certain point.
And he's just saying, go ahead and hit me.
And ironically, Toney's having a hard time doing it.
I know, which is truly amazing.
Not now, though. Tony hits him better when the guy shows a little defense. Well, that's not going to get anything done for Merqui Sosa. Mugging like that, he's going to have to hit Toney. Look on Tony Orlando's face. He's one of constant amusement.
That's true.
It's probably the look on our faces, too, if you could see it. And, of course, most of that owing to the odd style of Sosa. And it's not that it's not interesting. It really is. There's that counter right again by James Toney. And you know what? I've refrained so far from calling him Andrew Toney, and I'm hoping I can do it for the rest of the year. Maybe by reminding myself that